Hello and welcome to The Great Beyond, an Is This Good companion pod where we follow up on last week's episode, answer listener questions, and catch up with each other. The person I'm catching up with is, of course, Jason Doyle.
Hello.
Hi, JD. Thanks for coming this week. I know I went up into a register where it sounded like I wasn't finishing the sentence. I usually start the show by asking you, did anything good or not good happen to you this week? I was sick, so I haven't spoken. You know when you live alone and you're sick?
Right.
Jill's been great about dropping things off, but I don't want to get her sick, so she's at her place. And so you go through this 4 days where you realize, I haven't heard my voice in 4 days. I haven't spoken.
Yeah.
I guess what's not typical is to break that silence speaking for 45 minutes uninterrupted.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't had a conscious thought in a few days. But that's okay because I'm not going for my head today, G. I'm going for my gut.
Nice. How does the drop-off work? Is she leaving stuff outside your door, or is she coming in and
No, she's not coming
in. No, okay.
Honestly, she doesn't seem to care. When I get sick, she's like, what's the difference? I'm like, well, the difference is then if I'm sick now and then you get sick 4 days later, then that's you'll be 4 days behind me. So it'll be faster if you just let me, recover.
Yeah.
But, she'll knock on the door and then hang back on the below the porch, and we'll just have a quick chat.
Oh, okay.
And then she'll say, "Oh, you look sick." I'll say, I know I look sick." And then I'll slink back to the couch and lie down and watch a really weird selection of movies I've chosen this week.
Oh, okay.
The Count of Monte Cristo from, I believe, 2002 or 2003.
Guy Pearce? No. Who's
Guy
in that?
Pearce and Jim Caviezel.
Oh, yeah.
And what's her name? Magda, or she's in Succession. Her name's M, and then the last name is also M, and I don't know how to pronounce it. But anyway, she's in Succession. Couple other gems. I think Richard Grant. I think he's the old priest.
Okay. Yeah.
Anyways, it gets worse as it goes along, but I was into it. I love a good adventure. They don't make movies like that anymore. And then I watched Last of the Mohicans last night.
Wow, Daniel Day-Lewis.
Yeah.
Wow, cool.
So, well, this does bring up a question. Do you like rewatching movies?
Do I like rewatching movies? No. I mean, we do it a lot around here, which I find annoying. I just rewatched Endgame, Infinity War, and Endgame, which I've seen 10 times because my kids always have it on.
Right. It is a thing. I feel like when you're a kid, you'll rewatch anything, right?
Yeah.
Or I don't know. I was going to say this is because we didn't have a lot of physical media in our youth. So if you had a movie on VHS, you tended to rewatch it.
Yeah.
But then I guess that doesn't hold for your kids who can watch a movie on any platform at any time. So
yeah.
But it's we grow up watching. I saw the Muppet movie probably a billion times. Okay, there's a famous story that's a little bit embarrassing that I'll tell you now. That when Animal takes those growth pills, that the scientist Honeydew and Bunsen gives him, and he grows and grows and grows and grows until he gets so big that his head pokes out of the roof, and then he's just giant animal going rah, 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 rah. I peed on my parents' couch. But then once I got over that, then the second and third watch that was pretty good. But all this to say, you watch these Disney movies, an Aladdin a billion times or whatever.
Yeah.
Or for me, those were later. But for me, the Jungle Book, watched it a million times. The
Totally.
original, the Robin Hood, where he's a fox. Now I cannot bring myself to do it. I think because to me, part of movies is surprise.
Yes.
And I know some people say that that's the very reason they like rewatching things, because they don't want to be surprised. They want the comfort of it. But I don't know. I don't find it comforting. I find it very boring.
Yeah.
But I feel like I'm in the minority because one of the biggest podcasts out there is called The Rewatchables,
Yeah.
where people rejoice in rewatching the same movie over and over.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I'm just not into rewatching.
I am usually anti, but I was 100% into watching both those movies, Infinity War and Endgame. Like I locked in, and if Goodfellas on, I'm if it just happens to be on TV or whatever, I'm watching it till the end. It's one of those movies where I just gotta watch it.
But do you have cable?
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's DirecTV, like the app.
But are you scrolling channel to channel? Like, I don't understand this idea of if it happens to be on TV.
I scroll the guide. I do scroll the guide.
You scroll the guide.
Yeah.
And if you see Goodfellas, you'll click.
Yeah. Yep. And then I'll watch it with commercials, It's like,
right.
It's really stupid. But, and I own it. I own it on Apple. Like, I don't even think I've ever watched it on my Apple app. You know what I mean? Like Apple Movies, I paid for it. It was on sale for $5. Like, oh, I'll definitely watch this. I don't think I've ever opened it, ever. But I probably watched it 3 times on just regular AMC or whatever. And not from beginning to end, just like from wherever it happens to be when I see it on the guide.
But how much of your rewatching is like, I've already seen this movie and I want to show it to my kids, so I'm going to rewatch it?
That one I've never shown to them. That, like, Goodfellas, I haven't. But every other movie, yes, it's that. It's like,
you are literally doing the thing that makes Scorsese so angry, right?
Yep.
It's like he's literally talking about Marvel movies, and you're not showing them Goodfellas.
Well, yeah. I mean, I that's why I bought it. I'm like, I'm going to show it to my kids one day. And I'm almost afraid to show it to them because I don't know if they would like it. Like I don't know if it holds up for them.
It does. I think it does.
Yeah,
I think they would like it.
Yeah, especially Lincoln now because he's almost 17. So that's he's getting into like darker stuff and more adult stuff. So yeah.
I would hope so at this point, but I don't know. So are you learning anything new from Infinity War? Are you like, I missed that the first time? Can you explain time travel now?
I cannot. I like the Russo brothers are awesome. Like it is. Say what you want about them. It is. They did such an incredible job. Like it's a culmination of literally 20 movies. So I liked it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not the biggest Marvel guy, but those ones are good.
Yeah.
Or at least they're watchable.
Yeah.
But are they rewatchable? I say no.
I say kinda. Some of them, yes.
Well, you've proved that for yourself they are. Did anything good or not good happen to you this week?
Yeah, I've got 2, and they're both good. Well, the first one is, I don't even want to say, I'm not going to say, but I saw Fast X yesterday. So I'm going to save it for our film session on the No Dunks podcast.
Okay.
Because we've been, if you're new to the channel, we do a show over a basketball show on, it's called No Dunks. Everybody knows. And we did a 10 episode watch. It was the first time Skeets had ever seen any of the Fast and Furious movies. And, we did a podcast for each of them. You were on 2 of them, Fast 5 and Fast 9. And I am not a huge fan of these movies, but I had to watch it for work. I took my youngest son, Jackson, out of school to go see it.
Now, look, when you do that, do you have to make up an excuse for the administrators?
Well, it's the last week of school, so he just kind of left. He just left at lunch. So, and I don't think we got. I don't even.
And they've been looking for him ever since.
Yeah, he said, "Oh, don't worry, they won't care." And usually we get a call. In fact, we got a call yesterday, a robocall about Lincoln being away, and he had an excused absence because it was the graduation ceremony that the choir was performing at. But yeah,
it would have been funny if they called you to ask where Jackson was, and you picked me. Like, I'm sorry, I can't talk. I'm in a movie
with my son. It was very important. It's all about family. So, but yeah, it was. So I saw that yesterday, and here's the thing that happened. It has nothing to do with the movie.
Yeah.
So it was at one of those movie tavern places. Not that matters, but there was reserved seating. So I bought my tickets online, picked the seats, got there, and the seats were like, okay, this is not what we were expecting at all. Like, it was, for the size of the screen, this theater was incredibly shallow, like maybe 7 rows with a massive screen. So we were like on the side, and we're like looking up. So we're like, we got to move back. So I went and to change the seats, right?
Yes.
So I'm standing in line to change the seats, and right before I get there, and I know I'm in theater 5, the cashier is like, okay, just 1 second, sir. And then she turns around and talks to another worker, and says, hey, can you turn up the AC in theater 5? Because somebody complained that it's too cold. So turn the temperature up. And I'm like, immediate anxiety, right? Like, I'm in theater 5, and I found it quite comfortable, actually. So now it's going to get hot as fuck in there because one person complained.
Well, it's also because now you bring up an interesting question. If you want the temperature to be warmer, would you say turn the AC up or turn the AC down? Because you said up, and I thought that meant the person would want it colder in the
So did I. But that's what she said. And then she was like, yeah, make it warmer.
And you corrected her.
I didn't correct her. I was
JD,
in a tizzy.
come on.
I was in a tizzy because I'm like, shit. What?
Hey, this is just like a book banning in Florida. We can't have one person complaining and then make an action that's going to affect, I mean, in Florida, millions of other people or thousands of other people. But in this case,
at least 40
other people.
Yeah, there was probably about 40 other people in there. But it's just like, would you ever have the balls to go and complain about the temperature in a theater that's full of people?
Everybody knows that when you go to a movie theater in the summer, you bring a sweatshirt.
Yes, 100%.
If you're a person that gets cold in like very heavy air conditioning, which I never used to luxuriate in it, but now I'm old. I bring a hoodie.
You're not old. It's because you're skinny. You got rid of all those. You're shredded, man. You got. It's just like Phil's always cold.
Yeah,
Skeets.
PSA: if you're using Ozempic, bring a hoodie to the cinema. And anyway, so no, I wouldn't. I would not have the balls to do that. But then, look, what about we're at a two-top at a restaurant and they're blaring the music and I cannot hear you. Would you ask to turn the music down?
I wouldn't. I don't have the balls to do that.
But like, hey, if the music happened to be lower, it would enhance my experience.
Yes, 100%.
Right. But no, I don't know. Somehow a movie theater is just like, I will take what they. It's like in an airplane. Half the time it's freezing, and half the time you're sweating.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't know. You got to dress in layers.
You got to dress accordingly, and we're going to a movie.
I will say your ears have no layers. You can't layer your ears.
Yeah. Yeah. True.
So that's why I think music is more acceptable. But anyways, go back. So now you're scared.
So you have asked. You said, "Excuse me." While after they take your drink order, it's like, could you turn the music down? You've done that before?
I'm trying to think if I've ever actually done that. The problem is that at most of these, like, new, and I say new, really in the last like 20 years, sort of Brooklynized, bullshitty hipster restaurants that frankly I love. Playing the music loud is part of their point. Like, they would say that playing the music loudly is just as important as the decor they've chosen, the lighting they've chosen, the dishes they've chosen to make, the preparations, the style they serve, if it's small plates. And they would say that the music is contributing to this vibe. And actually, JD, we're going to get to something at the end of the show that's sort of circling the drain on this. Okay. All right. Not this specifically. But so if you asked, that would be like you asking at a, I don't know, French bistro if they could make you a pizza. Like, they'd be like, sorry, but that's part of the place. Right. But so I don't know if I've ever asked, but yes, I've thought about it. And generally speaking, music is important at a restaurant, but if you're blaring like 90s hip hop at an ear-bleeding decibel where I literally cannot hear the person next to me, which has happened,
Yeah.
you're being a dick. But
That's part of the concept, sir. It's part of the concept.
It's part of the concept. All right. Sorry. So go on. And I know you're wearing shorts. I can already see it.
No, I'm not, actually.
Oh, not right now in the movie theater.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So continue.
So, well, anyways, that's the end of the story, really. It ended up being fine. I don't even know if they touched the AC, to be honest.
Yeah, that could be one of the things where they're like tapping on it, like, doing the fake call. And
Yeah.
It's like, if you would like to place it. Yeah, no, definitely. Turn that down. Thank you. Bye.
Oh, well, speaking of temperature, and I've never seen this before, but Jackson was like, oh my God, what is happening? Like, he thought he was like getting a fever or something, but the seat was heated. Like, and he accidentally cranked the heated seat in a theater, like all the way up. So like his lower back was just like on fire.
Like he's in a Range Rover or something.
Yeah.
There's heated seats in a theater. That's unnecessary unless it's like an old school, if there's like a fire in the movie, they turn up the heat for you.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Why didn't they just say, okay, madam? I'm assuming
turn
it
your
was
seat heat up.
I was assuming it's a woman. I don't know
Sexist.
what it was. I know, but, I know my wife always gets cold. But,
Women do be cold.
And maybe more likely to complain about it? I don't know. But in my mind...
We're just asking questions.
I'm just asking questions. And in my mind, it was a woman who complained, and that's me. That's me that has to do the work and do better. But anyways, you could just say to her, do you have a heated seat, madam? You know what I mean? Just crank the heat on your seat.
It is very rare that a complaint where that complaint, if it's executed on, will change the experience for everyone else in the room is so easily fixed by something that will only affect that person.
Exactly right.
Yeah. So it's like as if I was complaining about the music in a restaurant, but the music was coming through wireless headphones. And they're like, you could just turn your headset down, sir.
That's right.
Well, you didn't want to say if Fast X was good or not good, because you want to save it for your show.
I want to save it for the show.
But let me just guess. It was a fucking piece of shit. And like maybe you're going to be able to say, oh, Jason Momoa, a great villain performance or something. Really chewed the scenery. But that movie sucked. And you know it. And you don't need to confirm.
Okay, yeah, I mean,
But
yes.
I know it sucked.
Well, yeah, but it's a Fast and Furious movie. Of course it sucked. So there's no... It's just the... Have you seen it yet?
No, I'm not going to see it.
Yeah, you are, because you're coming on film session, aren't you?
I was not asked to.
You were asked at the end of the podcast that we did 2 years ago. Oh, come on.
That was literally months ago. The end of the podcast? That was 2 years ago?
Yeah.
All promises made during COVID need to be restated post-COVID.
All right, you don't have to see it, but...
No, I mean, if you wanted me to, I'll see it. But I'm not going to see it for my own edification.
No. But yeah, you should come on. I think people want to hear.
Except for one thing. I'm the biggest Hoover Dam fan. I think I've mentioned this on the show before. When we were in Las Vegas last summer, Jill and I went to the Hoover Dam. Was fascinated by it. And I saw in the trailer that Vin Diesel does drive down the Hoover Dam. Well, and that's the only reason that I would want to see it.
Can I offer an actual spoiler to you?
Well, do we want to spoil it for people listening to the show?
It's not really a spoiler, but that is not the Hoover Dam.
Excuse me?
I mean, it's not the... It looks like the Hoover Dam, but
it's just a dam? Movie, how many other dams can you name?
0 dams.
Jean-Claude Van Damme? That's such a bummer. They made it look... I mean, I guess... You know what? I haven't done the research. Do all dams look alike?
I would...
I mean, it's a giant concrete wall blocking off water. I guess there's some similarities.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they stole the idea and took it elsewhere in the world, but this particular dam is not the Hoover Dam.
Okay, we might have to call this podcast here, JD. This is terrible.
Now you have to see it. Now I have to see it.
Now I have to see it.
Anyways, yeah, it's a piece of shit, but it's just where it where it is on the lexicon, like of all of them.
Yeah.
Where does it fit? That's where
That's
I'm really struggling. I'm really struggling. And I think I'm going to have to go see it again, honestly. Because it's a lot. It's a lot.
Can you call me out of school?
Yeah, for sure.
Call me out of work and fly me to Atlanta, and I will happily go see Fast and Furious. Well, let's not go to that cinema that you went to. It sounds shitty, though.
Okay, so I had one other thing that I was going to mention. So it's good and bad. So good, we have it. There's a neighborhood pool, like a club. You know how they have in Atlanta? Like
sure.
It's like a pool and a tennis court. Neighborhood. It's not an HOA or anything, but they're hard to get into.
It's a shitty country club.
It's the shittiest country club, but it's nice to have access to a pool. So we've been on a waiting list for 2 years, and we got into it finally. They're like, we waited in a line and we got into this pool. So very exciting. Very exciting. So there's two things. There's tennis courts, but you know us, we are obsessed with pickleball right now. So there's two big anxieties. Is there pickleball lines on the tennis court? We're too afraid to ask. Like, we're too afraid to jump into we don't want to be those people, right? Like,
why don't you just go look at the court?
Well, it's just opening today, actually. So
okay. I mean, you don't need a weatherman to know which way the wind blows. You know what I'm saying, JD? You just get out there
and just look. Yes,
take a look.
Absolutely. Okay. But there is that sort of kind of crossing our fingers, we hope there's pickleball players at this club, but we have no idea.
It's impossible that there won't.
I know. But
now the tennis people will hate you, but
I know I don't care about that because I'm done with warring with them. It's like, and like when like me,
this is your Infinity War.
That's right. No, but when a guy like me walks on to a tennis court or to play pickleball, nobody's bothering me. I'm like 220 pounds, bearded, old guy. Nobody's fucking with me, so it's fine. But I get very irritated with. I'm starting to get very irritated with tennis players because it's just like, why don't you just fuck off already? Like, there's tennis players that come in and they try pickleball, and most of them are great. Most of them are, tennis has become too much for me. I want to try this out, and it looks fun, and it is fun. But some of them are like, oh, the scoring is so hard. I'm like, what are you talking about? It's tennis. 1 point is 15 points. It goes to 40. That's 4 points. Like, how is that less complicated than counting to 11? You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, but it's even weirder, right?
What?
It's 0, which is love.
Yeah. Oh, yes, exactly.
Then the first point is 15.
Yeah.
The second point is 30.
Yeah. Then it's 40.
But then it's not 45.
No, you're right.
It's not intuitive. I'll just say that.
Right.
Now, I will say, don't cancel me, but the pickleball scoring is weirder because you have to say 3 numbers.
You say the score and then who's scoring. It's not that complicated. You get used to it.
You get used to anything, G. You
exactly.
get used to a freezing pool. Does that mean it's pleasant when you get in?
That's all I'm saying, tennis players. Stop complaining about the scoring because your game is way harder to score. That's all. Okay, but
do you have any concerns about your shitty country club?
Yes, I do, actually. Thank you for asking.
Can you piss in the pool? That's your question.
No, come on. You know I never piss in a pool. But
good.
People are pissing in pools, and then they're fucking idiots. If you piss in a pool, honestly, you're an asshole. This is that simple. But anyways, the main anxiety that I'm having right now is the first time going to the pool, for no reason. Because, like, we're paying, I don't know, like, it's $600 a year or whatever, plus, like, a stupid initiation charge, which is, like, $700 or whatever. Mm-hmm. I belong there. I am a member there. Mm-hmm. But I just feel so self-conscious about walking in there the first time. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like you're imagining it like an old school society thing where it's like... Someone's going to announce you at the pool gate.
That's right.
Mr. Jason and Rachel Doyle.
But I would prefer that, actually, because then it would be like, okay, these guys, these people coming in with their coolers and all of their accoutrement, just like they belong here. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to. I feel like no matter where I sit in the pool, I'm going to be like, this is somebody's regular spot, and they're going to come in and be like, you're actually in Michael's spot. Can you move it down? You know what I mean? Like, and you spread all your shit out. Not that I'm sure that there isn't that kind of thing there, but it's just giving me like real anxiety.
So it's more that you're not sure where to go and not like displace anyone unless like you feel like you're like the Beverly Hillbillies. Like.
That's exactly right. And that's how I feel. But you've seen my neighborhood. Like, it's not a rich neighborhood at all. Like, that's just neighborhood
loose
people.
Sheep running around.
Exactly. So it's very, it's not rational. But it's how I'm built, I think.
No, I understand. It's social anxiety because you're going into a space where this could be true or not true, but you believe that everyone already knows each other, everyone already has a rapport, everyone knows the little unique customs and conventions of this shitty country club, right. And you're walking in as a noob.
Yeah.
And sometimes noobs get pwned.
That's right. This noob is definitely getting pwned when I walk in with my big flamingo.
Pwned at the pool.
I'm going to walk in with my huge floaties, and it's like, no floaties, sir. I'm like, oh, fuck.
They're like, adult swim. You get out there like, no, sir, you could stay.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just a child at heart. Anyways, well, enjoy the shitty country club. Enjoy spending, $9 on a hamburger that's burnt on a grill. Maybe you get like a $5 ice cream sandwich. I'm sure it'll be an exciting summer over there.
Yeah, well, I'll report back and we'll see.
Well, actually, speaking of ice cream sandwiches, I'm about to drop maybe the craziest take I've ever dropped. And if people think this is too crazy, blame it on my fever. Okay, here's the thought.
Okay.
There's too much ice cream.
Oh, fuck. You've gone too far. You've gone too far. What are you talking about?
Okay, hear me out. I went out for dinner on Saturday. This was the last thing I did before I've been indoors since then. And dinner finished.
Okay.
And I cannot believe that I'm at the age where dinner used to finish. It's like, all right, boom, we're right into drinking now. We're hitting the bar.
Yeah.
Now I'm at the age where dinner finishes and everyone's like, ice cream? Which, no, I don't want to go for ice cream, actually. Now, and this, I just want to state this for the record. Yes, I'm lactose intolerant, but that's not the reason. Because, like, I'll take a lactate and take a dance with the devil,
Right. Yeah.
I'll spin that dreidel? Why would I say that? What am I trying to say? Flip that coin?
Yeah. You'll spin the wheel. You'll roll the dice.
Spin the wheel. I think that's what I'm trying to say. Anyways, so we go for ice cream. And on this particular street that we're on, there was at least two ice cream shops open.
Okay. What are we talking? Artisanal?
Yes, right. But that's not even my point. But of course, there used to be your classic Ben and Jerry's.
Yeah.
Your Baskin Robbins.
Yeah.
And then
would you throw a Dairy Queen in
Dairy
there?
Queen, a Hot Eats Cool Treats.
Yeah.
And then maybe like in the frozen yogurt phase boom of the late 80s, early 90s, you had a TCBY. And now, at least in LA, you got like Jenny's, you got Salt and Straw, you got Van Leeuwen's, you got McConnell's. On this street, there were two artisanal, expensive, fancy ice cream places. Anyways, this place had a line, like, out the door and a little down the block.
Okay.
Now, I'm not even getting ice cream. But my ultimate point when I say there's too much ice cream is, why is ice cream shops the only thing that are open late, dessert-wise? Like, it's like post-dinner, 9 p.m., 10 p.m. An ice cream shop is your only hope for dessert.
Right.
Now, you're going to say, like, I don't know, there's an Insomnia Cookies open near my... Like, all right, bullshit. I mean, I'm sure it is open. But there's not, like, a large proliferation of sweets and desserts that are open late. And I find, for me, to get my sugar fix, I'm often going to, like, a CVS or a Walgreens late at night.
Wow, okay.
But sometimes after dinner, if I don't want to be a pure garbage monster and just eat like malted milk balls, like there's nowhere to get a slice of cake, a nice piece of pie.
I have a theory why that is.
Okay.
Because a slice of pie or a slice of cake goes with coffee, and people don't want to drink coffee late at night. You cannot have cake or pie without coffee, so that's why they don't stay open late. But ice cream, I mean, you can have that 24 hours, man. Like,
I see what you're saying, because I think you're thinking of like, you have a slice of cake, you have the tiramisu at the restaurant with your coffee.
Yes.
Perhaps a decaf for those of us that get a little jittery post 4 p.m. But almost every restaurant has an ice cream option for dessert, too.
Yeah.
So it's not like it's like something they are not serving at restaurants and you have to go to an auxiliary place to get it. Yeah, I would say for every 10 ice cream places, give me 1 to 3 bulk candy places that are open late at night.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I want to go in there with the little bag, and I want to get my Swedish fish. I want to get a salty sweet.
Yeah.
And let me munch on that while you're eating your lactose bomb.
So you didn't get ice cream?
No, I didn't. I just watched other people eat it, which is fine.
Okay.
But I'm just saying, like, I don't know. There's other desserts that are delicious and fun to eat. I don't think we should just be limiting ourselves to late night ice cream. That's all I want to say.
I agree with you, but I wouldn't say there's too much ice cream. I mean, ice cream's my favorite dessert. It's got to be. Like, if I had to pick, it's ice cream.
Do you get toppings on it?
I like a busy ice cream.
Okay, well, that's all I want, JD. All I want are your toppings without the ice cream. I want a little...
Fair enough.
Little score bar.
Yeah.
I want a little cookie dough.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all I want. In a bag.
I think you might be onto a business idea here.
Well, they already exist. They're just not open late.
Oh, I see.
But, anyways, that's my piece on that. I'm sorry. It's fever.
Don't apologize.
Making me crazy.
Don't apologize.
So I don't know if you saw. Actually, you did see because I saw you in there. The Discord was popping off this week. And Graphic Mark submitted a settle this question that I want to ask you right now.
Okay.
So he asks, which is worse, RSVPing to an event but not showing up, or RSVPing to an event... Oops, I botched that, JD. That was the fever talking. Going to try again. Which is worse, RSVPing to an event but not showing up, or not RSVPing to an event and showing up?
Right.
So what do you think about that? Do you have a sense?
This is very close to call, I think. But I'm going to land on the... What are you asking me? If it's worse, or which is worse or better?
Which is worse, let's say.
Okay, which is worse is RSVPing and not showing up.
Okay, so let's talk about a wedding first. Like, about as formal an invitation as you can get.
Yeah. See, now, that changes it a bit, I guess.
No, I disagree. I think you had the right answer, because RSVPing and not showing up is worse because they've already paid for you.
Right.
And now there's an empty seat at your table. You're throwing the seating plan off.
Right.
Now, not RSVPing to a wedding and showing up is insane behavior. I don't know why you would do that. But then at least, like, I almost in a way feel less bad. Like, let's say it's my wedding, because I'm like, well, you didn't tell us you were coming, so why would you think that we would have a name card for you, for instance? Why would we think we had a table for you? Why would we think we had a plate for you? Now, maybe, like, you're happy that person showed up anyways, and you're just finding them stuff to eat. Hey, maybe you luck out and it's a buffet. But I think someone telling you they're going to be there, going through the trouble of seating them somewhere, printing out a name card, paying for their dinner, paying for them in the head count for the open bar or whatever it is you're doing there, and then them not showing up. Hold on a second. Now I'm going against my own thought here. Okay, but what if they had an emergency? What if they're like, my kid's puking?
Well, that's an excuse. That's a legitimate excuse.
Okay, but they're still RSVP'd yes and didn't show up.
I think in the case of a wedding, it's more stressful for the hosts i.e. the bride and groom, for you to show up, and like now they're scrambling to find you a space. There's no food for you.
Yeah, maybe you're right.
You know what
Maybe
I
you're
mean?
right.
Like,
it is just so weird to not RSVP and show up.
totally, yeah. But
Then
if
again,
I could see like, well, I thought I was going to be out of town or whatever. And if you're very like, if you're very diplomatic about it, or if you're very conscientious about it, so it's like, hey, I'm going to come to the ceremony and I'm going to have drinks at the reception or whatever, but I'm not sticking around for food. You know what I mean? Like, make it
or
so
just
that
come to the dinner, just come to the dancing part.
Right. Yeah. So you go to the ceremony and then you go have dinner somewhere else, and then you just show up at the final reception where the dancing is happening. You got to be super conscientious about it, and I think you could get away with it. But the whole point is the stress that it causes somebody, your host, right? Like,
Yeah. No. I think you've convinced me to change my answer in this, but it's in defense of the not RSVPing. Sometimes you're getting a wedding invitation months ahead,
right?
And you get it, and you go, "Oh, that's nice. They're getting married." But then you're also like, May 2028.
Yeah. I don't know if I'll be alive in 2028.
Will I be taking my flying car there? So you look and you're like, well, let me hold off on that. I gotta see if if the wife can come. I gotta see if we can get the kid, whatever it is. And so you don't RSVP right away. Then it might slip your mind.
Yeah.
Though that being said, you're gonna get a reminder. Because the person that invited you to the wedding is going to write you and say, like, hey, JD, I noticed you didn't RSVP. Are you coming or not?
Right. Yeah.
And then it would be really weird if you did not respond to that and then still showed up. So now let's go to a less formal thing. Like, you're having a birthday party at your house.
Yeah.
But it's not really a dinner. It's just like, hey, come by, we get some wine.
Yeah.
We're going to roll out the twister mat.
Yeah.
We're going to swap partners and have a big old fuck fest. Just kidding. No, just a casual birthday party at your house. Just, drinks.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So does that change your opinion of which is worse? RSVPing and not showing up, or not RSVPing and then showing up?
My original answer was and is not RSVPing and not showing up is worse, especially in this scenario. Like, if you're having just a party and it's kind of like an open house, and you invited somebody, so you want them to come, and they hold on, so they haven't RSVP'd, but they show up, then that's totally fine. I think that's totally fine. Okay. As long as they show up.
But why is that worse than me saying I'll be there, and then you're like, oh, what happened to Matt?
Yeah.
I guess what's
it's not worse. It's better. That's what I'm saying.
Which is better? Do you have fever?
I have a headache. A very bad headache. What? Yeah. So showing up without RSVPing is the better of the two in this scenario, I think.
Showing up without RSVPing is better. Okay,
Yeah.
but I'm asking you why. Why? Because if I RSVP and I don't show up, then you're like, well, what happened to him?
Yeah, exactly.
He's dead.
What? Well, I'd be worried. Where's Matt?
Yeah, I guess one thing I was going to say is that this doesn't contemplate RSVPing to an event and then at the last minute me texting you and being like, sorry, I'm not going to.
Yeah, but I don't think that's not part of this scenario.
Yeah, okay.
This is a literal no-show, no explanation.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, if it's literally like, if it's like a party, open house, there you reach a point where it's just like, oh, what happened to Matt? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
that's how I would.
Yeah, I would also say most parties do not require an RSVP.
Yeah,
it's just like, hey, I'm having a thing. Come one, come all.
Yeah, the worst thing.
I don't know. It's still rude to not tell you if I'm going to be there.
Of course.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's the best of what's better out of these two bad things, right? So, I don't know. Yeah. As long as you, if you haven't RSVP'd, as long as you show up when the party is still at its peak, you know what I mean? Or even like as things are slowing down, but don't show up at the very end.
Oh my God, that's the
Like,
worst.
that
And
would
now
be
you're like,
bad.
that person has the energy because they haven't been like talking to people all night, and you're like, and then you feel like you have to give them your attention.
Yep.
Because they've showed up at your house.
Yeah.
Hey, JD. No, I wasn't cleaning everything up because it was over. I like to clean as I go. Why is the music off? Noise complaint.
Yeah. No, please, come in.
Why aren't I clothed? Fuck fest.
Yeah, fuck fest. You missed the fuck fest, Matt. Sorry.
All right. Bit of housekeeping, JD.
Okay.
Join our Patreon, patreon.com/isthisgood. Why am I mentioning it? And it's even more important this week because tomorrow, Thursday, May 25th, or I should say today, May 25th, sorry, fever kicking in, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, we've got our live stream hangout, so come join us for that. I'm really looking forward to that, JD.
I am too. I had a blast last time.
I have to give some secret updates to a secret thing I talked about last time.
Ooh. I love it. I love this stuff. This is where you get all the hot stuff, the stuff that's too hot for the pod. It's too hot for even Patreon. You gotta be in the what tier do you have to be in for this?
Great or goat.
The great or goat. What a crew of people. It's great.
Yeah, what a crew of people. We also have merch that's at isthisgoodpod.com. And remember, if you bought a piece of merch, send us a pic of you wearing it. And send me emails at isthisgoodpod@gmail.com. Need some more emails with good topics. Would be lovely to get some. Subscribe to Is This Good on YouTube. Leave a review on Apple Podcasts. Unfortunately, JD, our Apple Podcast rating is still 4.9.
Yeah.
A couple people did leave reviews, but I don't know. I need a mathematician to figure out like how many more 5-star reviews we need to get to offset the like 2 bad reviews that we've gotten.
Is it bad form to review your own podcast? Like, should I jump in there and leave a review?
Yeah, I've done it.
Oh, have you?
Yeah, why wouldn't I give my podcast 5 stars? If I don't believe in me, who's going to believe in me?
I don't know.
Every president votes for themselves, JD.
Yeah, that's a good point. Okay, I'm going to rate. I'm going to rate and review this podcast.
Okay, but don't worry. This is still a 5-star Spotify podcast.
Awesome.
Want to talk about this. I saw this quote on Twitter. This is Max Struess. Don't worry, this isn't about sports. It sounds like it's about to be about sports. But he's talking about Jimmy Butler, who's obviously having a killer playoffs, playing music in the locker room. So Jimmy, as the best player, I'm sure he gets the aux cord out of respect.
Right.
And so this is Max Struess saying, "It honestly surprises me that whatever he plays before the game gets him going. Sometimes it's Miley Cyrus, sometimes it's Justin Bieber, sometimes it's Rick Ross. Whatever he needs to keep doing what he's doing, we're all here for it."
100%.
So, sure, he's your most important player. Let him play whatever he wants. But I was curious if you have any particular music that you use to psych yourself up or that you like to exercise to or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, exercise too, sure. I mean, my main music when I'm exercising is whatever's playing on Patreon, or Peloton. Join Patreon and you can see me work out on my Peloton.
I would love if every mention we do of Patreon, we just switch it to Peloton, even though they're not paying us. We just believe in their product. Yeah, the stock's taken a hit post-pandemic, but you know what? Zoom, they're down too, okay? A lot of these pandemic stocks, they're down. That's why we need your help to get Peloton back up.
Yeah. So, and that was one of my, I don't want to go on too much about Peloton, but I do like my Peloton. And
just
my
switch, every time you want to say Peloton, just say Patreon.
Okay. So every time I'm riding my Patreon. My main worry about getting into Patreon was that the music I wouldn't be able to pick. You know what I mean? Like it's like a workout class and it's curated for you. But then I realized actually it's kind of a cool way to discover new music. It's really the only time I listen to music I'm not picking myself ever really now, which is odd because, I grew up in the era of radio and stuff. But so it's my main source of discovering music. But anyways, to get to your question, I don't know. I listen to like the cheesy cliche, I guess, of like Guerrilla Radio by Rage Against the Machine.
Oh, okay. You like to get hyped.
If I'm getting hyped. But you once mentioned that, Against All Odds was a great running song. And you're 100% right. Like, it's
JD, I have that written on my page here.
Yes. I love a power ballad. Guilty. We mentioned this a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, yeah. Streisand
and Gibb.
Barry.
And Barry. Oh, my God. I don't know what it is.
Barry. Why didn't they call that album Barbara and Barry?
I know, right?
Crazy.
But yeah, a power ballad. Anything Lionel Richie for some reason really gets me going. But I'd like the, Shake Your Rump by the Beastie Boys is sort of like the cliche, like, let's fucking do this, I also realized when I saw this in the doc, I'm like, I don't hype myself up enough. You know what I mean? Like, I don't really have occasion to.
Well, I was going to ask you, do you have a routine to get yourself hyped up for the show?
Not really, no. No, I don't.
You don't stare in the mirror and slap yourself in the face and go.
I should. I'd probably be better. I'd probably, like.
Sometimes I will look in the mirror and I'll just go, be funnier. Why can't you be funnier? Other people have funny things to say. Why don't you?
Yeah. Anyways, well, what about you?
Well, so like you're saying, my journey was basically when I started running, and in this more modern period of my life, like this was maybe like 2016, 17, and I thought that to run you had to listen to like aggressive music. So I'd be listening to like punk, like Ramones, Buzzcocks, like things like that. And then I realized that you don't actually need to listen to fast music because athletes, they're actually not like, they may be aggressive on the court or whatever, but they're calm. Their mindset, they're in a zone. And to get in a zone, like slower songs actually help you maintain like an easier pace and make it feel like not so taut and tense, right? Because if you're running like 10, 15 miles or, in a marathon distance, you want to be relaxed. You want to be feeling like it's easy, like you're kind of floating. So that's when I realized that, like a power ballad, like Against All Odds by Phil Collins, also In the Air Tonight by Phil Collins, a great running song. And then there's certain things where I'll go to where it just, if it has like a triumphant feel or like it just has like one ecstatic moment in it. So I'll give you an example. I'll listen to Money for Nothing by Dire Straits, but just the intro. Because, do you know what I'm talking about? Like,
totally.
It just starts like so slow and moody, and there's that just synth, and you're like, well, what song is this? First, that song is like 8.5 minutes.
I know.
There's obviously a single version because it was a hit, but the album version's like very long. And then there's just like the drum hits, like like just against that drony synth. And then when that riff kicks in, it's like if you picture like a rock concert and you just like that stacked wall of amps that goes like to the fucking ceiling, it feels like that's like blowing right into your face when they're like ding 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 ding. And I don't know, I've heard it a million times, but every time it hypes me up. Now the rest of the song, I almost could take it or leave it. I'm like, I don't need it. But just for that moment, it's so worth it. Another moment when the chorus kicks in and Nothing's Gonna Stop Us Now by Starship. Like, and we can build this dream. That's a killer. And then honestly, I love like the snobbiest indie music around, but sometimes like you want to feel like you're in a movie when you're running, and so songs that are in movies are often cheesy, and sometimes like if You're the Best Around by Joe Esposito from the Karate Kid soundtrack comes on, you're like cool,
of course, hell yeah. So when you're listening to In the Air Tonight, do you try to like the hill or whatever, like the big when the drums come in, the dun 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 dun, is that? Do you try to time it like, okay, I'm hitting it now, but because I know in 2 minutes and 15 seconds I'm going to be at Dead Man's Hill or whatever, and that's you need that extra push, or is it just wherever you happen to be?
Well, it's a great question because I think that's a little too hard to time. But sometimes I will skip through songs, which is the nerdiest thing because I have the wireless, so I'm going like this, tap tap. Oh, tap, 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 tap. Oh, tap, tap. Because I'm like, I need a song. I need the song. I don't know what song it is, but I know I need it, and then it'll come on and I'll be like, boom. Like even like Viva La Vida by Coldplay, a song I don't even like, but that song somehow is a great running song. But let me give you two that are actually cool songs, and one of them, and they're both aggressive, so this kind of goes. But sometimes you do need like a final push when you're really tired. Then it's time to hit the aggressive music.
Okay.
The Rat by the Walkmen, a band we saw together. Remember in New Orleans, All-Star Weekend?
Do I know that? I don't know that.
You probably don't know it, but it's very like downstroke guitar, just like ding 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 ding. You know, it's like got really heavy drums, and the singer is just singing. It's sort of an antisocial song of like, fuck you guys.
Fuck you, mom and dad. I'll skateboard if I want to.
Yeah, well, it's not really mom and dad, but and then Decepticon by Le Tigre, another great.
Le Tigre, I know. I know that song. Of course. Yeah.
So those are some. I wouldn't even say they're recommendations because some of these are fucking weird ass songs to be recommending to people. But
well, what's your recommendation for the most unlikely song to work out to? Like, I mean, I guess Against All Odds is up there.
Yeah, like I mean, like I'll listen to like Call Me Maybe.
That's definitely on my list. My
like stuff that I would never sit down and listen to. But I'm gonna go or like shout out Lee Ellis, Angels.
Yeah,
like just something with an anthemic chorus like that.
Yeah,
that's pretty slow in the verses.
I've got that, and I've got Allison by Elvis Costello.
Oh.
I love that
Allison.
song.
I just sang that at karaoke, JD.
Did you? I've never sang it in karaoke. I think I'm gonna next time.
Yeah, no.
It's right in my range. Like if I'm in the car, I'm fucking rolling up the windows and belting it out.
But isn't that that's my problem with karaoke is I'll be in the car singing. I'll be like, "You're killing it, Matt, today." And then I'll be like, "Oh, okay." Then I'll sing this karaoke, and then somehow I'm like, "This didn't translate. It sounded a lot better when I was in my car."
Well, better acoustics in the car. There's a reason James Corden does it in the car, you know? Like, it just sounds better.
Because he's a hack?
Don't start. The guy's leaving.
Poor James. Poor Jimmy. That guy's definitely told some restaurants to turn the volume down. I'll tell you that. He was at Balthazar. So I can tell him. Turn down the Phil Collins. All right. Well, this is the time when it does get to sports because we were talking about Jimmy Butler and the Heat, which means we got to talk about stakes. Mm-hmm. What is stakes? It's a sports prediction game where you compete against thousands of other fans to prove you're the smartest. It's free to play, and the more accurate your predictions, the more you win. 2 weeks ago, JD, we got 3 or 4 predictions right. We did it again last week. We got, guess what?
The same?
Same, 3 or 4 right.
Wow, okay, because I didn't feel good. I was like...
well, because we said the Celtics were going to win Game 3, and
right,
they didn't.
But
other than that, we were correct.
Really?
Except for the most important thing to know, we were right about everything else. So that's good to know. But I have to thank you, JD, for helping me get so many right, because when you win, when you get... For every certain amount of questions you get right, you get these little boxes in the Stakes app, and then you click on the box like a little treasure chest, and it like animates it. It's like, woo! And it's like a fun little video game.
Yeah, I did an NHL one, which I know nothing about. But yeah, you touch the box and shit comes out of it. It's very satisfying.
It's very satisfying. And then you could dress your little avatar and stuff like that.
Awesome.
But here we go. Let's go 4 for 4. We've been dancing around it for 2 straight weeks. We've been 3 out of 4.
Okay.
Let's go 4 out of 4 here. Let me open the old Stakes app. All right. So we're talking Game 5, Heat Celtics.
Yeah.
Boston's still alive, trails the series 3-1. The Game 5 winner will be the Miami Heat or the Boston Celtics. So obviously if the Heat win, they close this out. If the Celtics win, they push this to Game 6. And some say put all the pressure on the Miami Heat.
Okay, I'm just gonna refer to my favorite basketball podcast. Mm-hmm. The No Dunks podcast. Mm-hmm. And Skeets, he thinks that Boston's going to stay alive, but both Trey and Tass think that Miami's going to close it out in Boston Thursday night, and so I'm going to go 2 versus 1. So I'm saying Miami is going to win.
Okay, perfect. I've locked that one in.
Great.
All right, who will be the leading scorer in Game 5? Butler, Tatum, or anyone else? So in the last game, Butler had 30.
Yeah.
No, Tatum had 33. Butler had 29.
I'm going to say
that, but that was Tatum's first good game of the series.
Yes.
So if you're saying the Heat are going to win, I think we should say Butler's going to score more.
Absolutely, Butler.
Okay, boom. Jaylen Brown is averaging just 16.8 points per game this series. Will he get over or under that? I mean, it doesn't seem high for him, but I'm gonna say I feel like taking the over, but I don't know.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Over.
Boom. And then, final questions. How many three-pointers will the Celtics sink on their home court in Game 5? 14 or fewer, 15 or more? I think they had 18 in Game 4, but they only had 11 in Game 3, and they weren't shooting well from 3 before Game 4. I say they're at home. They're letting them fly. But we're also saying they're going to lose. Let's go 14 or fewer.
Yes.
Okay. All right, 4-4, JD. We finally did it.
Awesome. I can't wait to hear the results.
So if you want to play, if you want to see if you can beat us, if you're in the US or Canada on an iOS phone, go to playwithstakes.com/isthisgood to download the Stakes app and start your journey to becoming a sports god. playwithstakes.com/isthisgood. All right, JD, let's get to the comment of the week.
Okay.
So this one is about the Norm Souza show, which we dropped on Monday, which was a banger of an episode. People are really enjoying it. We talked about speaking to your dog in full sentences. We talked about sharing your body count with your new partner. And we had this new segment called The Good Old Days, where I sort of brought up something that used to be very popular. And we talked about whether we thought it was good when it came out and how do we feel about it now. So, for instance, we talked about standing desks, which you said were good when they came out, and you defended them through and through. Mm-hmm. And one thing I brought up was paper boarding passes. You know, we always have paper boarding passes. Now we don't. We have them, the QR code on our phone or whatever. And I said I still like a paper boarding pass. Mm-hmm. And Ryan Vantal wrote in to say, this is the first time I have felt very strongly about a subject. Paper boarding passes are not good. Granted, I almost always have a connecting flight because I have a small airport as a starting point, so I have to juggle multiple boarding passes for each flight. First of all, Ryan, juggle. You're juggling the boarding passes. There's two. You can't. Two is not juggling. Two is passing things back and forth between your hand. If you had 3 boarding passes, maybe we could talk. And if you balled them up and were literally juggling them, it would be a fun way to pass the time. I have flown a few times this year and show my ID at TSA and not my boarding pass, then my boarding pass at the gate and never my ID. It's simple. Paper boarding passes add unnecessary complications. So I use this as the comment of the week. Thanks, Ryan, for writing in. Because, I don't know, it's like I have a sixth sense, JD, or we have a sixth sense, because the day after we recorded this, I saw a headline from the Wall Street Journal that said, "Want a printed airline boarding pass? Be ready to shell out $25. And the subheadline says, "All the travel nickel and diming tests the patience and pocketbooks of exasperated travelers." Quote, "I want to have that piece of paper." Now, it's not a coincidence that I just said the headline and then the subheadline, because it was in the Wall Street Journal and it was paywalled, and I did not pay to read this article. I did read some aggregations of it. Okay. But yeah, so airlines are starting to charge for boarding passes, which is like, in a way, insane, but in another way, is it surprising? Like, I think it's now harder to name things that they have not tried to charge us for,
right.
Especially on like those like Frontier, Spirit style airlines.
So what's the thinking here? I mean, obviously to make money, I guess, but it seems like it would just be, it's designed to piss you off. So I think they just want you to download the app, right? Like,
yeah, exactly.
That's all it is.
It's free. They don't have to have someone at the gate, or they have to invest less money and maintenance into the little kiosks.
Yeah, but more importantly, they can track you. They have your information. It's all about the cookies, Like,
well, there was a quote in an article from like one of these airline representatives, and sort of, I don't know, I find the euphemistic way they're explaining it is they're saying, we're only charging for things that the consumer can do themselves. Okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they're saying, like, you can go on and check in and have it on your boarding pass, on your phone, the boarding pass on your phone.
Right.
You could do that yourself, and out of the kindness of our hearts, we're not going to charge you for downloading a QR code. But if you want us to do it for you, we're going to charge you.
Right. Well, it's ridiculous and stupid. But I see. I guess I get it.
Do you think that like because definitely they're sitting around a room going, what can we charge them for? There's 2 things they're doing. They're like, what can we take away? Like peanuts or free snacks.
Yeah.
No, those are gone.
Right.
Free meals, those left long ago.
Right.
Feels like I was in diapers the last time I had a meal on an airplane.
Yeah. Well, it was December for me, but I flew Air France to,
Yeah, okay, the international flight. But even if you were going from like Montreal to Florida, you used to be able to get
that's true.
something.
Yeah.
Any ideas on new things they could charge people for? Because I had like, do you think that they they know what seat you're in, right?
Yeah.
So they could track it, and every time you push the call button for the flight attendant,
oh, interesting.
that's $5.
Right. Well, they could charge you to go to the bathroom.
I'm not sure that if this is like because in Europe they charge you for using the bathroom in some places.
Yeah.
I think that some airlines, like maybe it's like Ryanair, maybe they've experimented with that. I don't know. That might be like maybe that's a bridge too far, but certainly paying to drop a deuce, maybe.
Yes, actually, and I would be in favor of that because it would discourage.
You want to discourage it?
Yes, of course. God.
No peeing in the pool, no shitting in a plane. Where does this guy want us to do our business? Some of us have the stomach flu, JD. Okay, we need more places to go. Not
Have
less.
you ever taken a shit on a plane?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, all the time. Yeah,
Really?
I find it like a fun little way to pass the time.
Wow. I've never done it. Like
Really? It's not like
it's
some
never
weird
happened.
thing.
No, I know it's not weird.
It's like I'm not doing anything else.
Yeah,
This
I guess.
is a great time to spend doing that.
Yeah, but there's like a people right there.
It's so loud. No one can hear anything.
It's not the sound, Matt.
It's the smell. Okay, then you go, that wasn't me. That was the other guy.
The other guy. Yeah, I guess.
What about this? What about, because there's so many ways they're charging us, how about a way to make some money back and save the airline money in the process?
Okay, go on.
Okay, like, let's say I get a $20 rebate if I walk down the aisle telling people to put their tray table up when we're about to land. That's my job now.
I like it.
Someone wants water, I'll get it for you.
So you're just gonna work a shift,
Yeah, I want like a plane monitor.
You get a sash.
Yeah, like the loser in high school where they're like, oh, because you're responsible, you get to do lunch duty this week, and like don't realize that they're just getting you to do free labor.
Yeah. Also, if you pitch in, getting rid of an unruly passenger,
you help duct tape a drunk guy that doesn't want to put his mask on.
Yeah, you should get.
Seat.
Yeah, you should get credit for that, I think.
Yeah, I think that's true. I mean, you see those videos all the time.
I see them.
I mean, not with a mask anymore, but like ever since COVID, people have been insanely belligerent on airlines.
Yeah,
and
crazy.
people are helping, push these people out or calm them down or prevent them from, I've seen punching a flight attendant and people get up and like grab the person.
Heroes, all of them.
Yeah.
And they should get a credit. They should get some sort of...
For one free drink. Beer and wine, of course, not premium, premium liquor.
Yeah.
We can't get you the tiny bottle of the Woodford Reserve, sir. You would actually have to Air Force One, Harrison Ford style, kick someone literally out of the plane from a high altitude. Then we can give you the premium spirit. Then you can get the Bloody Mary.
But I have a little hack that my friend Derek, Derek,
sure, King Ding Dong,
yeah, he always brings a little gift for the flight attendants.
Oh my God, no,
he does like a little.
No. Sorry,
like a box of Timbits or like Mrs. Fields cookies or something like that, and he'll say, "Oh, this is for you," and blah blah blah. And he says that he gets preferential treatment, like on the plane. So if he like gets a vodka soda or whatever, they give him like 2 bottles of vodka, like 2 of the little bottles. Or they'll give him.
But is he netting out on top?
Snacks.
Like if he just paid for the extra bottle, is that?
That's a great question. I don't know.
He used to be a flight attendant, though,
he
right?
was, and I think that's how he got it. How he started it, and he's a very sweet guy too. So but anyways, that's I don't know. I've never had the the cojones to be like, here you go. I don't think I could get away with it. You know what I mean?
I think they would be immediately suspicious.
Yeah, exactly.
Much like a tennis player wouldn't argue with you because you're a larger man with a giant beard. I don't like.
It's like,
you're going to play.
Here, I brought you some cookie. Thank you, sir. Immediately into the garbage, and I'm on a watch
walk
list.
up to like, walk to the lantern. Do you like cupcakes? Here's some red velvet. Thank you, sir. This is definitely not like some sort of terrorism.
Yeah. So.
That's like an airplane when they all get, what are they, like all get sick from the fish? Isn't that what happens in an airplane?
Yeah, what'd you have? The fish, yeah.
Yeah, what'd you have? I had the red velvets that fucking Sons of Anarchy guy gave me. Anyways, JD, people want their paper. We have so little in this life. We don't have concert tickets anymore. We don't have those keepsakes. Let us have our paper.
I mean, I'm not to defend them at all. I'm not defending them, but
sounds like you're about to.
You could print it out at home, right?
Yeah, I guess
they're not charging you $25 for that, are they?
Could you though? Could you print the boarding pass and would that work? Could you give that? Could you put that on the scanner? I guess so.
It's a barcode. Rachel, every time we buy tickets to anything, it drives me crazy, actually. She just, like, prints out every bit of the itinerary. If there's a boarding pass, she, like, walks onto the flight with, like, pages of stuff.
She's the last person using MapQuest?
She'll... almost literally, yes. She will print out the directions on Google Maps, yeah.
Okay, Rachel, I hope you're double-side printing, okay? Those MapQuest directions can be pretty long.
She 100% is.
All right, well, email us at isthisgoodpod@gmail.com if you have anything to say or you have topics for future shows. Subscribe everywhere. Leave a review on Apple Podcasts. Listen to the next show. Go back and listen to the Norm episode if for some reason you haven't. It was super fun. Anything before we go, JD?
I think this was a good show. This is your flu game right here.
This is literally my flu game.
Yeah.
And this is your migraine game.
Yeah, we're both under the weather.
We're both under the weather, so if you disagree with anything we said, that's why, and it's not because we're bad people, or uninteresting, or unfunny. This was JD and Matt reaching out from the great beyond, the grave beyond this week. All right, we'll see you soon.